Hey there, it's Christian, and welcome to the monthly market update for August 2022 from San Antonio. So, in this video, we're going to talk about the recession and what it potentially has in store for the housing market, interest rates, how that's playing out in the market, and of course, inventory. We're going to touch on that, and then I'll just kind of give you my brief overview of the market and what I'm experiencing out there. How would housing be impacted by a recession? I think that's the question many people are asking, and especially if you're on the sidelines or you've taken a break from the housing hunt lately, or thinking about selling. You want to know what's going to happen. So let's dive into that. And I've shared this slide a few times, and I still believe that this is relevant for us to look at here. 1980, we looked at 6.1 appreciation. 1981, again, more appreciation, 3.5%. 1991, we did see a pullback in appreciation, actually a decline in pricing, or rather home appreciation, 1.9%. 2001, 6.6% appreciation. And then, of course, 2008, we saw 19.7% drop in appreciation. So we saw depreciation there. And then we turned it around in 2020 here with a 6% appreciation during that recession. So we've had some recessions. We've had several recessions here in a row, and we've had positive appreciation. So it doesn't necessarily mean because we are in a recession or could be in a recession or going to be in a recession that we're going to see falling prices. And we'll touch on this a little bit more towards the end. But what does hold true, or has been holding true for the last 6 recessions, is mortgage rates tend to fall, in a recession. And this is also a product of the Fed lowering the rates to kind of get us out of recession. But 1980, we saw negative 4.25% in the rates. 1981, negative 5. 1991, 2.5 or 2.25, and so on and so forth. We see 2001 just under 1 point, 2008 we saw 1.13, and 2020 we saw a full point decline in interest rates. So a little bit of good news there. So if we do fall into a recession and you're still in a position to buy, you could be looking at a slightly lower interest rate. And so what do the projections look like for those interest rates? So here from Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, Mortgage Bankers Association, and National Association of Realtors are all predicting we're looking at about a 5.33% average in this last quarter for interest rates. And then again, a 5.2% rate for the first quarter, a 5.18% rate for the second quarter, and a 4.97% rate in the third quarter of 2023. So kind of playing out there. They're kind of predicting that we're going to be in some sort of recession, and that we would see some type of reduction in interest rates, particularly in the latter part of next year. So we'll keep an eye on that. Lately, I've actually seen rates come down, and we've been kind of bouncing around there. More on that in a minute. So what does it look like for housing numbers, inventory? Well, right now, according to this here, National Association of Realtors, we still are shy quite a bit of inventory. We have a 3-month supply right now today on average in the country. That is about on par with 2020 there in the blue. And if you look back to some of the worst years for the housing market as far as inventory goes, well, rather plentiful inventory because of the crash, 2007 through 2011, where we had over 8 months worth of inventory. So definitely a buyer's market during those years. a strong buyer's market in those years. So we are still way down in inventory. Doesn't look like we're going to be touching those numbers anytime soon. Especially if we start looking back at foreclosures. So we'll get into foreclosures in a minute. Now, inventory supply here in San Antonio. Remember, we're at about 3 months supply nationwide on average. Well, we're still about half that here in San Antonio. So we have about 6 weeks supply right now. This is as of July. 6 weeks supply of inventory. You can see we actually accelerated on how much inventory people were buying up. This year, 2021, we were about even with that. And 2020 was, again, if you remember, was a very strong year for sales, and we were at 2.8 here in San Antonio. So foreclosure activity, the foreclosure activity from January to June, this is the first half of the year in each of these years. So here in 2022, we're looking at 164,581 foreclosure activities. So whether they're getting their notice of default or they're moving into foreclosure, that number obviously you hate to see those in any number above zero, but the reality is this is a small number. So if we go back to the great financial crisis, 2008, when everything really came crashing down there and we had lots of inventory, lots of builder inventory, and lots of foreclosures, we are still nowhere near that number of foreclosures. So we're not going to see any help. If you're thinking we're going to get help from foreclosures, nothing meaningful as far as that inventory to help bring prices down. Really just have the interest rates to keep things in check for the moment. So what's my take on all of this? My take is right now, we are seeing more inventory. Okay, albeit it's not a whole lot of inventory. We're seeing more price changes. So we're seeing activity in the market where listing goes up and maybe it's overpriced, and so we're seeing quick price cuts. So there's opportunities out there for buyers that are looking, and maybe it's high on the price. Maybe they're not getting offers because of that. So I say make an offer. Those are opportunities to make offers and get deals under contract, whereas before everybody was out there making offers on just about anything. If you're a seller and you're thinking about selling, make sure that you're priced properly, and expect that if the house needs updates and repairs, that you're gonna have to pay for those repairs and those updates, through price concessions. There's no longer seeing these giant premiums paid by buyers for homes that are either not completely updated or need additional repairs. So the game has changed. It's not the same. It's still a seller's market. It's just, instead of going 90 miles an hour in a 55 zone, we're back to going 55. If it needs 30 days or 60 days, 90 days to sell, that's what it's going to take, versus having multiple offers in 2 hours. So that's really the biggest change that I'm seeing in the market. I hope that helps. For me, it's a little more refreshing because it just wasn't fun to see buyers losing out the way they were, and sellers still can win in this market, and win big, but gotta be ready to do some negotiating to get the deal done right. So hopefully that helps you guys. If you have any questions, reach out to me, and we'll get it taken care of. Otherwise, I will see you on the next video.